Hello everybody, it's Finn from Movies to Drink To, and in today's video I'm doing a sort of recap of the year that was 2022 over on the podcast. In this video I'm going to be ranking every movie that we covered in the previous 12 months on the show, as well as some of my personal favourite films from 2022 and some of the ones I hated the most, and also I've got some comments from people on Instagram on what they loved and what they hated. So over on the podcast Movies to Drink To, we covered 20 movies in the year that was 2022 and one TV special. And in this, I'm going to rank the very best to the very worst of the movies we had to watch for the show. Disclaimer, the Star Wars Holiday Special will not be included in this list because it's not technically a movie, it's a TV special. But if I was including it, it would honestly be at the bottom of the pile. It's the very worst thing I think I've ever fucking watched. Now, of course, you'll notice Mr. Smith, my co-host, is not here. I didn't consult him on any of this, so this is just my list. So direct your anger at just me. All right, on with it. In at number 1, the best film we covered last year, Highlander from 1986. I fucking love this film. I always have loved it since I was a kid. I was so happy we got to do it. It's a great 80s action movie, but it's more kick-ass than most. It's a little bit different to most. It's got a great story. It's got great sort of practical effects. I even love Christopher Lambert's terrible accent. It's got a great soundtrack from Queen. I love it. It's easily the best film we covered last year. In at number 2 is Commando from 1985. Arnold Schwarzenegger, 80s action movie. Is it his best? No, it's not his best. It's just fun, and I don't know why. It's completely stupid. It's completely over the top. It's just that dumb, generic, muscle-bound 80s action movie, but it's the best one of them. And say what you will about it, you cannot knock this film's pacing. It doesn't let up from start to finish. It's a lot of fun, and it was a great episode. In at number 3, Sleepaway Camp from 1983. This is another one that I've always loved. These first 3 were actually pretty easy to pick, if I'm honest. Sleepaway Camp, for those that haven't seen it, is basically a Friday the 13th knockoff, but it's actually better than any of the Friday the 13th films. It's easily one of my favourite 80s horror movies. It's got great kills, great practical effects, and one of the best endings in the entire horror genre. In at number 4 is a movie I had never seen until 2022. It's Roadhouse from 1989, of course, the late, great Patrick Swayze. People have talked about this movie a lot, and there was a few people that for months were saying we should do this, we should cover it. We eventually got around to it. I finally watched it. Yeah, it's fun. It's stupid, but it's fun. It's got some great performances as well from Patrick Swayze, Sam Elliott, that blind guy whose name I've now forgotten. Even though I'd never seen it, it always seemed like a film that was right up my alley, and I was not wrong. In at number 5, another film I never saw until 2022, Top Gun, the first one from 1986. It's pretty stupid. It's pretty thin on plot. Tom Cruise is annoying. It is very homoerotic, but you cannot knock the achievement that it is for the time in terms of what they did on camera with planes. And it is iconic. You can't knock that as well. And no, I've still not seen Top Gun Maverick, but apparently it's really good. I would say that's pretty much the last good film on this list. But that's kind of the point of the podcast, as we watch terrible films so you don't have to. In at number 6 is Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan from 1989. This is no secret, I've talked about it loads. I'm not a fan of the Friday the 13th franchise, but I just have a soft spot for this one. I don't know why. I think it's because I know how great it could have been, and I know what they were trying to do, and if they'd had the money, we could have got an amazing slasher movie set in dirty old 80s New York, but we didn't. Only the last 20 minutes of the film is actually set in New York. It's completely stupid. The kills aren't even that good, but I don't know, I just have a soft spot for this film. So in at number 7 is Friday the 13th, Part 1 from 1980. Again, I'm not a big fan of this franchise. It is what it is. I can appreciate it for what it is. I've seen it a bunch of times. They are fun to talk about, though, and I am looking forward to next year when we're going to go through the rest of the Friday the 13th. In at number 8 from 1986, Raw Deal, another 80s Schwarzenegger movie that we covered. It is what it is. It's As one user put, it's not his best, it's not his worst. I thought that this was going to be like Commando, but it's kind of boring and stupid as fuck. Like, not even passable stupid. Not even so stupid you can laugh at it. It's just dumb. But it was a lot of fun to talk about. In at number 9, Air Force One from 1997. Just the dumbest fucking film. Yay, America! That's it. That's the whole film in a nutshell. Gary Oldman is pretty entertaining in it, though. But yeah, stupid. In at number 10 is Daredevil from 2003. We all know this only got made because of the success of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. They really dropped the ball on it. It's very of its time. It's aged terribly. Nobody in the film really looks like they want to be there. It's not that interesting. The plot is thin as hell. But it's honestly, I would say it was worth watching it because it's probably one of the best episodes we did last year. I keep saying last year, but I'm still in 2022. You know what I mean. In at number 11, this was the first movie we covered when we came back. Dune from 1984. It's aged terribly. It was rushed. They didn't do those books justice. We all know that. It's naff. That's the word I'd use to describe it. Naff. It looks terrible. It's just weird. I mean, Dune's weird anyway, but with David Lynch in there as well. We know David Lynch hates it. He couldn't do what he wanted to. It's just a fail all round. Or a W. An L, sorry. But luckily, Denis Villeneuve came along in 2021 and we finally got a decent adaptation of it, and I'm really looking forward to the sequel. In at number 12, Anaconda from 1997. Jennifer Lopez versus a snake. The big snakes from Amazon. This episode was also a lot of fun to record. But the movie's stupid as hell. It's really poor. But again, kind of like Jason Takes Manhattan, I don't know why, I have a bit of a soft spot for it. I think maybe it's nostalgia. I saw it when I was young. I don't know. It is stupid, but fun. And Owen Wilson getting swallowed by a snake. Wow. In at number 13, and we're really starting to get into the pits now, Ghost Rider from 2007. It's not completely charmless, but it's pretty bad. It's just dumb as hell. Nicolas Cage, as much as I love him, he's just all over the place in this film, as is the story. You just don't care. Wes Bentley's villain character is probably the worst performance in any film that we covered in 2022. I hate him. He's awful. In at number 14 from 1982 is Swamp Thing. I love Wes Craven. You love Wes Craven. We all love Wes Craven, but Swamp Thing is dreadful. It's so cheap looking. It's so nonsensical. It just seems really rushed. It's awful. And it's pretty boring. In at number 15 from 1986 is the movie that no one can believe actually got made. It's Maximum Overdrive, directed by Stephen King. A drug-addled Stephen King. From the guy that is the master of horror, writes and directs his own movie, and this is what he came up with. It is just so badly written. I can start to believe those conspiracy theories that King didn't write most of his own books. But I don't believe it, because that's stupid. But this doesn't help that argument. Just the worst. But not, because we've still got a few more to go. It's not even so bad, it's fun. I hate it. I'm never watching it again. In at number 16 is Barbed Wire from 1996. How is this film so bad? Mid-90s Pamela Anderson in fishnets and leather corsets, running around, shooting things, being a badass with her tits out, and yet it's so boring. And the plot is so stupid. It feels like a real missed opportunity. It's kind of worth a watch if you've never seen it in the it's so bad it's good category. But overall, what a waste. Alright, in at number 17. Ghost Rider 2, Spirit of Vengeance, or Vengeance, as Idris Elba pronounces it, from 2011. Do you remember when I said that Ghost Rider wasn't completely charmless? This is. They took the only sort of decent things about Ghost Rider, got rid of them. Now we have this horrible piece of shit of a movie, and it's probably, I have to say, it's the ugliest movie on this whole list in terms of cinematography. I've taken better looking dumps. In at number 18, Rob Zombie's Halloween from 2007. This was always going to be pretty low down. If I'm being brutally honest, it's probably one of the weakest episodes we put out because I just fucking hate this movie so much. I was bored watching it for the second, third time. I was bored talking about it. I fucking hate it. And we still got to talk about his sequel next year. Literally, get in the bin. So, we're down to 2. One is going to be the worst movie we watched and covered on Movies to Drink To. This was actually a tough one. This was a toss-up between these two. But in at 19, Catwoman from 2004. The second-hand embarrassment I get from watching this film is just, I can feel my teeth itch and my skin crawl as Halle Berry gives the worst performance of her career, delivering the worst lines of dialogue possibly ever written in this complete misfire of a dumpster of a movie. This is only worth watching with a bunch of mates to laugh at how fucking terrible it is. Oh, and I forgot the CGI is so bad. I forgot all about CGI. Oh my God. Just honest. One of the worst films I've ever seen. But the top spot, or the bottom spot, I should say, goes to Mac and Me from 1988. The legends are true. This really is one of the worst movies ever fucking made. There isn't anything that's good about it. It's not funny or wholesome or charming, or it doesn't look good. The effects are bad. The acting is bad. The story is stupid. It's just E.T. but with McDonald's. I hate it. I fucking hate this movie so much. It was a fun episode, but I'm never watching that again. Fuck that movie. And the fact that they were so confident they'd get a sequel, that at the end of the movie they put, see you next time or whatever. Oh my God. The only good thing about this film is that it's provided Paul Rudd with practical joke material for about 20 years. Poor Conan O'Brien. Okay, I also took to Instagram to ask people what was the worst movie you saw in 2022 and what was the best movie. Let's start with the ones who said the worst movie they saw. Alice Hare 92 says Jurassic World Dominion. I have still not seen this, but a lot of people say it sucked and it got it got terrible reviews. I might put it on one day if I'm feeling sorry for myself. Naughty Street Names, who is a friend of Lee's, so his name I don't actually remember. Thor Love and Thunder, or Thor Love and Blunder, as we like to call it. Yeah, this, it's bad, it's bad. And now I know Lee is the Marvel fan and I am not, but even I can appreciate some Marvel movies. Guardians of the Galaxy is a good movie. But this was really the pits. It's a huge misfire. And pretty much everybody hated it. I haven't met anyone that said it was good and they enjoyed it. Yeah, fucking terrible. Christian Bale was good. I will say that. He was actually really good in that role. Just wasted in that film. Stark 2490 Underwater. Couldn't even finish it. It stars Kristen Stewart. I've seen Underwater twice. I actually don't mind it. I think it's all right. I don't see anything wrong with it. It's not amazing. It's nowhere near the worst film I saw. Yeah, it's all right. What the heck does that say? Tay Al Burston, Hellraiser or Texas Chainsaw Massacre? I liked both of them. Nowhere near worst movies I saw. I know everybody, it seems, hated that Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, reboot. I liked it. It was fun. Get over it. What were you expecting? All of the sequels to that movie are dreadful. Dreadful. I don't really see what's wrong with it. Yeah, it was fine. And Hellraiser, yeah, I liked the new Hellraiser as well. That's another film that, when you look back at the sequels we've had to those originals, these aren't that bad. And best movies. Brandy Pink Disco Ball says the best movie she saw in 2022 was The Menu. I've heard a lot of good things about this. I still haven't watched it. I am going to watch it. This is Ralph Fiennes. Is it Anna Taylor-Joy's in it, I think? Heard great things. Definitely have to check that out, and soon. Taylor Burston. I can't pronounce that. Is that even a name? I'm sorry. Pearl. She says Pearl was the best film she watched in 2022. I watched Pearl last night, actually. Yeah, it's fantastic. As was X. And I'm really looking forward to Maxine, which is going to be the third one, which follows on from X. Pearl was a prequel to X. Maxine is going to be a sequel to X. But yeah, looking forward to it. Stark 2490, best film we watched in 2022. Top Gun Maverick and The Batman. Yeah, I guess still haven't seen Maverick. Maybe I will. And Naughty Street Main says The Batman. Yes, that made it onto my list. My personal list of the best films I saw last year, this year, 2022, whatever, but not necessarily released in 2022. Dune, definitely, or Dune, however you want to pronounce it, whatever. Yeah, I thought that was brilliant. I was a little bit apprehensive, but it was fantastic, and I'm really looking forward to the second one. The Batman, Matt Reeves. Now, when we reviewed The Batman, did we review? Yes, we did review The Batman. Okay. It's been a long year. And when we then ranked all the Batman films, I was a bit on the fence about this. I'd only seen it once at that point. I was like, do I like it? I don't know. I couldn't make my mind up about it. I've since watched it a second time, and I've fallen for it. Yeah, I really enjoy it. And I can't wait to watch it again when I get a new TV. Big fucking thing. Gone Girl, which is the David Fincher film from 2014. I watched it for the first time this year. I don't know why I put it off for so long. I'm a huge David Fincher fan. It's fantastic. It's one of his best. Prey, which came out this year on Disney Plus or Hulu, depending where you live. Thank God it was good. I'm so happy it was a good film, because after that last Predator movie, everyone was a bit like, ugh. But it was great. Really likable characters. I wasn't too sure about the setting and the time period when it was announced, but I got really into it and I really enjoyed it. Terrifier 2, of course, was going to make this list because my name's in the credits. Yeah, everybody loved Terrifier, and it did not disappoint. It just ramped it up, stepped it all the way up a gear. It's Terrifier on steroids, and it's fucking brilliant. And I can't wait for part 3. I believe I mentioned X earlier. X, yeah, I saw that in the cinema. Thought it was great. And Pearl as well, I guess, is now on this list as well. This is an interesting one. And I didn't watch it till 2022. Blade Runner 2049. Now, if you've been watching or listening to this show for a while, you'll know I hate Blade Runner, the original. I fucking hate it. It's boring. The characters are dull. Harrison Ford looks like he's half asleep. I don't get it. It's one of those movies I just don't get. So why the fuck did I watch the sequel? Because of the director, Denis Villeneuve. I think I had just watched Dune. I was really impressed with it. And then I watched Arrival a few months before that as well. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to just check it out. And I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. Beautiful film. Another one I got to see in the cinema, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Nicolas Cage at his absolute best, playing Nick Cage. And Pedro Pascal's brilliant in it as well. I love it. It's such a fun movie. On to the worst movie I watched in 2022, other than Mac and Me, fucking Disney's live-action Pinocchio. What a pile of shit. I was angry. I hated it. I hated every frame of it. I hated it the way Jeremy Clarkson hates Meghan Markle. Also, and I didn't really want to talk about this, but we need to talk about this. Halloween Ends. Just one of the biggest disappointments ever. Never mind 2022. So disappointing. I know there are some people out there that like it. If you can sit through that shit and like it, okay, fair enough. But the general consensus is utter disappointment. Heartbreaking disappointment. It was a huge letdown. Terrible. Oh, and another film I've just remembered I really enjoyed, Barbarian, which is on Disney Plus at the moment. Check that out. Right, that's it from me for the year that was 2022. We will be back next year. I'll be back, at least anyway. Not firing anybody else. And I look forward to it. And also, all the movies I mentioned there, we have episodes on all of them. You can check them out. You can listen to them on Spotify, the other things, iTunes, wherever you listen to podcasts. And it's all, obviously, all the episodes are available on YouTube, with the exception of the Catwoman episode. There is no YouTube video for that. I apologize. That is only available to listen to because the copyright claim didn't get through. We failed at that. Somebody desperately claimed that they own that film. It's like, fair enough. If you want to put your name to that, you can have it. And I think the Dune episode, the Dune, is that on there? I can't remember if it's on there or not. There was something funny about it, technical difficulties, but everything else is there, and you can go listen to it, as well as news to drink to and all that stuff, and enjoy and like and share and subscribe. Did I say subscribe? I don't think I did. Never mind. See you next year.